This is the third video in a tutorial series where I show you how to play the song Make It by Aerosmith. In this video I'm going to be covering the second part of the song's bridge. As a reminder, the guitar should be tuned in drop D tuning for this song. Okay, so this section starts by palm muting a G5 chord. And because we're in drop D, that's going to be played at the 5th fret. With your first finger, you hold down the G note on the 5th fret of the 6th string and the D note at the 5th fret of the 5th string. So G, D. And you're going to bar that with your first finger. Then with your picking hand, you use a technique called palm muting. This is where you actually rest your palm on the strings down around the bridge while you pick the strings. Let's see if you can. Can't really pick it up too well with the camera. But I take my palm, kind of hear the difference there. So yeah, we're going to palm mute that G5. But then kind of let up on it. So next with your first finger, you're going to bar an inverted C5 chord. An inverted chord is simply a chord that has as its lowest note something other than its root note. In this case, our C5 chord is a second inversion because it has its 5th, the G note, as the lowest note. This is played at the 5th fret, barring the 4th and 3rd strings. That's the G and C notes. So you have a G note. That's the D string at the 5th fret. And then you have a C note right there. And that's the 5th fret of the G string. So you play that once, and with your second finger, you're going to bar an inverted A5 chord at the 7th fret. Again, we see a chord with its 5th, in this case the E note, as its lowest note. So there's your E right there. That's the 7th fret of the A string. And then you have an A on the 7th fret of the D string. I'm going to play those together. So you have then shift your middle finger, staying at the 7th fret, over to an inverted D5. That's on the 4th and 3rd strings. So the D and G strings. So you get something like. So you play that D5 once, and then you sort of roll your middle finger back over to the 5th string, staying at the 7th fret. You're going to cover the 4th and 5th strings. So that whole phrase looks like this. So then you're going to take your third finger to the A note at the 10th fret of the B string. You're going to bend up to a B and then back to an A. Just like that. Then with your first finger, you play the D note at the 7th fret of the G string, followed by the D sharp at the 8th fret, and the E at the 9th, and then the F sharp at the 9th fret of the B string, and then bend that slightly. So you have You're going to play that whole thing twice. So you're going to play these inverted chords again. On the third time through, there's going to be a slight change to the notes that you play down here. As opposed to so you're going to play that twice. So that starts at the D note on the 7th fret of the G string. Play the D at the 7th fret, D sharp at the 8th fret, and E at the 9th fret. These are all on the G string. So then you switch to the B string, play the G at the 8th fret with your first finger, followed by the A at the 9th fret with your third finger. And you finish the phrase at the C note of the high E string with your first finger on the 8th fret. And you kind of bend that slightly. So that phrase plays twice. Then you play an A5 sharp chord at the 8th fret to a G5 chord at the 5th fret. So you play it open a couple times and then you palm mute. Then we're going to play an A major triad at the 5th fret of the B string, starting with the 5th of the A major and working back to its root. So you'll play an E note at the 5th fret of the B string with your first finger, then the C sharp with your second finger, that's at the 6th fret of the G string, and finally the A note with your third finger at the 5th fret of the D string. It's going to play out like this. So you play that triad, and then you go back to the E at the 5th fret of the B string with your first finger. And you're going to slide up to the F sharp at the 7th fret, and then slide back to the E at the 5th fret. Then you're going to hammer on at the F sharp at the 7th fret with your third finger, and then bend up toward a G note. And then you start to bend back to the F sharp, and just as you're approaching the F sharp note, you're going to slide your finger up to the A note at the 10th fret, and bend up just past the B note approaching C. So the whole thing goes like this. And play that one more time. Next, you're going to play the A5 sharp G5 phrase again. Then there's a little solo that we're going to play. I'm going to break this solo down into 5 smaller chunks. The first chunk is played at the G note at the 8th fret of the B string. Right there. So you bend that note up to an A note 3 times, and on the third time, you're going to bring the bend back down toward the G note. I'll play that one more time. So the next chunk of the solo starts at the E note at the 5th fret of the B string. You're going to play that with your first finger, and then with your pinky, you're going to play the G note at the 8th fret of the B string. So you're going to play that G note, but you're going to pull off to the E. E. And then with your third finger, you're going to play the D note at the 7th fret of the G string. So let's put those two together. It's going to play a lot faster in the song. Let's slow down. So the next small chunk of this solo is played by placing your first finger on the C note at the 5th fret of the G string. Play that note, and then hammer on and pull off of the D note at the 7th fret with your third finger. So then you're going to land your third finger on the A note at the 7th fret of the D string. So let's put those three together. Next, you're going to play a double stop with your first finger at the 5th fret of the B and G strings. Those notes are C and E. So bar those notes with your first finger, play them one time, and then play the A note at the 7th fret of the D string with your third finger. So let's put together what we've got so far. One more time. So we're going to finish this phrase by playing the G note on the D string at the 5th fret. And play that note with your first finger, then hammer on and pull off of the A note at the 7th fret. You're going to use your third finger to hammer on and pull off. So then let your third finger land on the E note at the 7th fret of the A string. Let's put those together. One more time, real slow. Then you're going to slide your first finger to the 8th fret, barring the A5 sharp. moving back to the G5 at the 5th fret, just like before. And so this time, you're going to hold that bar shape over the 6th and 5th strings, and you're going to do a slide all the way up the neck to about the 15th or 16th fret. So let me play that again. So you let up around the 15th or 17th fret. You're going to take your 3rd finger and you're going to put it on the G note of the high E string at the 15th fret, and you're going to bend that up to an A note. So let it come back slightly toward the G note. Release and bring your 1st finger to the A note at the 10th fret of the B string. And you're going to hammer on to the B at the 12th fret, and you're going to bend that up to a C, and then bend it back down to the B. Then with your 1st finger, play the E note at the 9th fret of the G string. Bend it up to an F and back to an E. Play those together. Next, pick the A sharp note at the 8th fret of the D string, and you're going to hammer on to a B note at the 9th fret with your 2nd finger. Then play the G note at the 8th fret of the B string, followed by the F note at the 10th fret of the G string with your 3rd finger. I'm going to play that whole phrase again. So we finish the bridge with a similar phrase that opens the song. Only instead of playing major chords, we're going to play all 5th chords on the 6th and 5th strings. So you'll take your 1st finger and bar the 5th and 6th strings at the 7th fret to play an A5. Then play the C5 at the 10th fret. Followed by the D5 at the 12th fret. And the F5 at the 15th fret. It's going to go something like this. You're going to finish this phrase by landing on the A5 sharp at the 8th fret. So you're going to play that chord, and while it rings out, you slide your finger back toward the 1st fret, letting up somewhere around the 3rd fret. Alright, so then the music pauses before a short drum interlude, and that's the end of the bridge. Well, thanks for watching my video. If you found this useful, do me a favor and press the subscribe button. Don't forget, I will be back next week with the final video of this series where I will cover the final verse and the outro. Thank you so much for watching.